So I think it's a great idea. I think that there are very good science-based reasons to delay school start times till at least 8:30 when it comes to older adolescents, teenagers. There is a huge body of research showing that teens get better sleep when they go to bed a little later and when they get up a little later. And there's a lot to be said, and it can't be repeated enough, that this is not because teenagers just stay up late and then they don't get up in the morning because they're so tired. There is actually a physiological shift that happens after puberty. Kids start to secrete melatonin. That's the hormone that initiates sleep. They secrete this later by an hour or two after puberty. So it is actually more difficult for kids to fall asleep when they are a teenager than it was when they were younger. So allowing a child to fall asleep a little later and get up a little later can have very good benefits for kids, both in terms of education, also in terms of automobile safety, and a variety of other health benefits. One of the things with younger kids is that they are more able to get up earlier. A lot of parents with younger kids know that it doesn't really matter necessarily what the parent's plan is. The kid will wake up earlier than parents often expect. And that's because, again, they have an earlier kind of sleep cycle. They are more likely to be able to be put to bed earlier and actually fall asleep and then get up earlier. So that is a little bit more adjustable for a younger child. In fact, they should go to bed earlier and get up earlier, whereas a teen, that's just different. A teenager can go to bed and try to go to bed at 9 or 9:30 or 10, but they may not actually be able to fall asleep. Being in bed is not the same as being asleep. And it's also true that teenagers get healthier sleep if they sleep during their normal cycle. So if a normal cycle for a teenager is 10 or 10:30 or 11 and then they get up at 8, that can be healthier sleep for them than if they're trying to go to bed earlier than that and then have to get up earlier to go to school earlier. Well, the main benefits for kids, the main benefits for teenagers in terms of a later school start time are primarily educational. There is good evidence of improved educational performance with later start times for high schools. There's also evidence that automobile safety and driving safety is better because children who are sleepy and driving at the same time, that's obviously very dangerous. There's the body of literature out there can show other benefits in terms of just general health for kids as well, but I think the strongest evidence is in terms of their educational performance and their automobile safety. Parents will also bring up the fact that teenagers like to be on screens at night, and that is this something that's really driving the fact that teens stay up late and then they want to sleep in. And yes, in a way, that is a modifiable behavior. That is something that absolutely every family should do, is set a media curfew. An hour or more before bedtime, screens should be turned off, they should be out of the room, there should not be televisions in bedrooms. There really shouldn't even be phones in bedrooms or other screen devices in bedrooms. But this doesn't really change the fact that teenagers still have a normal sleep cycle that's later. It can affect the quality of their sleep, it can affect how quickly they fall asleep, but they still have a physiologic change after puberty that makes it more difficult to fall asleep earlier. And that's not something that just adjusting screens or putting a child to bed earlier is going to be able to fix. What is modifiable is what time they have to then get up. If we can line up a teenager's activities and their school day so that it syncs up with their normal sleep cycle, that is the healthiest option for the child. So a lot of families have concerns because they have systems set up already as to how their kids are going to be taken care of before and after school, and there's definitely adjustments that need to be made. But there are school districts around the country that have already made the shift to later start times for high schools and for teenagers. And there are ways to modify the school day that can accommodate the needs of their students. Every school district is a little bit different, but the reality is that having a later start time for teenagers means that we're putting the child's health and their education first. We can adapt around that and try to do what we can to make everything else work out. But it really is the healthiest thing for kids to be able to sleep a little bit longer in the morning when they're teenagers.